Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome and thank you so much for joining. Today's video is going to be a brow tutorial. This is something that's been highly requested by a lot of you guys for me to get a little more in detail on how I do my brows and kind of my brow story. So if you're wondering whose picture I used on the thumbnail, well, I have to admit that that is totally me. That was me in 2006. Those are my brows. So I'm gonna give you guys a little rundown on my brow story. I grew up having the thickest brows you would imagine. Thick. I'm talking I had a unibrow. I was just that girl with so much hair all over, and you know, I kind of got used to it. And it wasn't until the end of middle school and high school that my best friends and I decided that we wanted thin brows, and my friends had thin brows and I didn't know who to go to. There was no threading, we didn't have no money to get anything done, so we just kind of did it ourselves. So I let my best friend help me out and my sister tweeze my eyebrows out, and we got my eyebrows to kind of look like that picture, you know. And it was something that I thought at the moment looked really cool, and I really liked it. And I remember my dad would always tell me, grow your eyebrows out, you look so crazy, what are you doing, why would you do that? And for the longest time I thought I looked so cool, and I thought it was hard. And it was because in my time of growing up, I graduated in 2006. In that time, it was a thing to have thin brows. I don't know if it was all over the world, but I know for me, Inland Empire, Riverside County, 951, 909, it was about the thin brows back in the day. And everybody did it. It was so normal. It wasn't until I got into the beauty industry that I realized, no, absolutely not. It is about thicker, fuller brows. And that's when I decided to grow my brows out. Did it take a long time to grow my brows out? Yes, it did. How did I grow them out? I just left them alone. I literally did not tweeze them. I just kind of let them be and grow out and kind of just bloom into what they are now. And it did not come back the same way. My brows grew back thicker, sparse, darker, just a lot more coarse and intense and harder to work with. So now my brows are kind of like a soft angled brow, but they still are so intense and sparse that it's like impossible to get them to look like any supermodel or any 14 beautiful young girl out there that I see with these gorgeous brows. And I have to just kind of work with it. But you know what? I've grown to love my brows, and I'm so thankful that there are so many amazing products and brands out there that created awesome brow products. And I'm going to share with you guys the ones that I've been using lately and what I love. And I hope that this inspires you guys to, you know, love your brows and have fun with it, and know that if you tweeze them out, it'll come back. And if they don't, then you can totally have all this makeup to play with, and you can get the brows the way you want them to look. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys currently what I use and my steps that I take to get this look. I'm going to show you guys on one side with my brow already done, and on this side a bare brow, so you can see the difference. And I have it pretty close up on my face so you can really see how thick and dark my hair is, and kind of how it looks without any makeup on, and what I use to achieve this eyebrow look. With that being said, give the video a thumbs up, comment below if you guys have a similar story to mine or want to share anything with me, and yeah, oh yeah, subscribe, of course, because I subscribe, you know, hey, we're friends. All right, yeah, let's get started. All right, so I started off with one brow completely done and one brow pretty much bare, no makeup at all, because I wanted to show you guys the difference and how much a brow can make. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off with a spoolie. This is going to be one of the most important parts to makeup, because this really helps a lot with the brow as to, like, you know, getting the hairs to go together, brushing it off. If you apply too much, you can go back with the spoolie. So I always have a spoolie with me so I can achieve any eyebrow look that I want. So I'm going to go in using Maybelline's Browdrama Pro Palette in the shade Deep Brown in the MAC 266 angled brush. I'm going to go in with this middle shade right here, which is a dark brown, and I really like using powder products on my brows as opposed to pencils. I just feel like the powders tend to leave me a more natural finish. I get so much out of it than I would with the pencil. I feel like with the pencil I struggle a little more. I'm sitting there longer trying to fix it, and I still have to go back with my angled brush. So powders just tend to work perfectly for me. As you can see, I have like tons of hair missing. It's kind of all over the place, but because I want my brows to look very full and give that soft arch and look very dark, I'm going to start towards the outer part of my brow. Now the reason I'm going to do that is because I have a lot more hair missing here than I do towards the front, because I don't want it to be too intense up here and even more dramatic out here. Think of your eyebrows kind of like contour. You don't want to start your contour in the middle of your cheek and work your way back. You kind of want to start towards the back and lightly ombre and fade it in forward so that it gives a more natural effect. Same with the brows. I don't want my brows to look like, I want my brows to look like contour cheeks. I want them to look like they're naturally fading into the beautiful shade towards the front. I'm going to start pretty much right up in here, and I'm going to make a line just like that. and I'm just kind of guiding myself. I'm going in very light motions and light little flicks because I don't want to drag it. The minute you drag, you're really going to get yourself in a situation that's hard to get out of, because once it's a cyclic liner, you don't want to drag it on. You want to take yourself in steps. So same thing with this. You want to be really patient and lightly just kind of sketch out of where you need to go and gradually build that beautiful brow. And then again, just kind of working my way forward. I'm trying to stay as close as I can to my eyebrow, but I'm also working a little bit on my skin, which is totally fine, because in a minute we are going to clean that up with concealer so you can get the perfect arch. Sketching that brow out, get it in the shape you really like it to be, but as I said, just really make sure that you sketch, flick, and take your time with it. And I've really been liking this shade lately because it has absolutely no red in it, which sometimes some brow products tend to have red undertones, and it leaves my brow looking a little more orange, which I try to avoid that. So I love that this is like a very like it has more ash in it, which is what I need. So towards the front of the brow, this is where I tend to stop because I don't want to square my brow in. I don't want a boxy brow. So I instead am going to just stop right there, and then instead of connecting it, I'm just going to flick up and create those natural little hairs that Gigi Hadid has. You know, the one all the models have that I wish I was born with. So I'm just going to kind of pretend I have those as well. Next, I'm going to go in with Benefit 3D Brow Tones in the shade number 4. So this is going to give my brow hairs a very subtle highlight. Yes, it literally highlights your brow hairs. And I like that because it gives it like a very balayage brow. It lightens it up and it gives it like a nice little reflex in the sun, I would say. And then I also like it because it does keep my brow hairs in place. So I'm going to brush a little more on there. Just a little goes a long way. And just kind of work it to the end of the brow as well. So the last and final step is a very important part to me because this is going to not only brighten my brow, but it's really going to shape it out for me and kind of clean up any little sparse hairs, any little freckles, any parts that I didn't perfect in my eyebrow application. So this really makes a big difference. And this is the Kevyn Aucoin SX02 concealer. And I'm going to use this with the Elaine Baudreau mini shading brush. So I'm grabbing a little bit on that brush, and same way I went in with my brow product, I'm going to do that with this concealer. So I'm just going to start right towards the arch, and as you can see, I really just applied a little, and I'm just going to now kind of connect the dots. These lashes are in the way. It's totally okay though. So I'm just now gonna keep on applying a little more. If you have naturally gorgeous brows, I do not recommend this at all. I really encourage you to stick to just a little bit of brow product and a little bit of brow gel, and that's it. But if you are like me who over tweezed your eyebrows and you really have no definition to your brows, this is definitely going to work to really brighten it up. I kind of call this like my Instagram brow because when I started my Instagram, this was kind of like the way I did my eyebrows, but it was a lot more intense and crazier back then. But now I feel like I totally have settled. I totally have toned it down since then. So now I'm just going to take a brush, just as a Dose of Colors mini or large shading brush. I'm going to brush that away. I really don't want that crazy intense line. I mean, I do want that line there, but I don't want it to be too crazy. So we're just going to buff out as much as we can, and I'm going to do it kind of towards the lid and away. And then on top, I'm just going to add a very little bit right up in here. I'm not going to drag much on, just a very little bit right there, just to brighten up that area and kind of clean it up, and then buff away. And then I'm just going to do a little extra cleanup. I kind of just make sure that I like the way it looks, that they look pretty related, you know, not twins but sisters. So yeah, and I think I got them down. So now that my brows are complete, I'm going to do one last step, and this is applying a little bit of this nude matte eyeshadow color from my Browdrama palette onto my brow bone. This is very important if you are oily or if you're using a concealer base that does have a little more oil in it, because once that oil touches this brow product, it's going to tend to melt off and kind of create a more shinier brow. So it's important that you matte down that concealer so that it stays in place and radiant all day. So I'm going to just take this in and pack it directly over that. And also what's great about using a shade like this is that it's really going to kind of neutralize that concealer too, so that it doesn't look so bright and intense, because sometimes concealers tend to look a little too white, or they'll tend to look a little just too striking, and it's not really supposed to be meant to look like that, even though we like it like that. So this is going to definitely tone it down and neutralize that for you. Alright guys, so this completes the final look on my brow tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I made it as simple as possible. I really try to narrow it down to the products I really use, and that's it, because I know it does not take 50 products to get the perfect brows. Just patience, a little bit of time, and that's all. Comment below if you guys can relate to my brow story or have a hilarious brow story I can share on my Snapchat. I always love sharing comments that you guys leave me, and I think if you guys can share that I'm not the only one that tweets out my eyebrows, that would make me a little bit not crazy anymore. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!